Right now, somewhere in your pocket, your phone is buzzing. You don't even need to look. You already feel it. Your hand is moving before your brain finishes the thought. But the real answer for why you do this is far stranger than you think. You tell yourself it's about the message, it's about work, or a friend, or something important. But you check it even when you know there's nothing new. You check it in elevators. You check it at red lights. You check it while a movie is paused, mid-scene, for no reason at all. Why? The answer isn't addiction in the way you've been told. It isn't weak willpower. It's older than willpower itself. It's older than phones, older than screens, older than language. Your ancestors spent almost their entire existence scanning the tree line for movement, scanning the grass for a shape that shouldn't be there, scanning the faces around the fire for a shift in mood. A predator did not announce itself. A rival did not send a warning. Information came in flickers, and the humans who noticed those flickers survived to have children. The humans who didn't simply didn't. This is called vigilance behavior, and researchers have tracked it in primates for decades. Psychologist Robert Sapolsky, who spent years studying stress and behavior in baboons in Kenya, documented something curious. The baboons with the highest social rank weren't the calmest animals in the troop. They were often the most anxious because they had the most to monitor, more alliances to maintain, more threats to track, more information flowing in from every direction all day long. Status came with surveillance, not peace. Your brain runs the same software today. It just runs it on a completely different landscape. Your phone isn't a tree line, but your brain doesn't know that. To your brain, every notification is a rustle in the grass. It might be nothing. It might be something. And your ancestors' brains were built on one unshakable rule. Check the rustle, because the cost of ignoring a real threat was so much higher than the cost of a wasted glance. A false alarm cost you a second of attention. A missed real threat could cost you your life. That's the trade your brain still makes, thousands of times a day, without you ever agreeing to it. There's a name for the mechanism sitting underneath all of this. It's called intermittent reinforcement, and it was first mapped out by psychologist B.F. Skinner in the 1950s. Skinner ran a simple experiment with pigeons in a box with a lever. Some pigeons got food every single time they pressed the lever. Others got food only sometimes, on a schedule that was completely unpredictable. Which group pressed the lever more and kept pressing it longer? Not the ones who got rewarded every time, the ones who got rewarded sometimes. An unpredictable reward doesn't satisfy the brain the way a guaranteed one does. It hooks it instead. Your phone is that lever. Most of the time, nothing happens when you check it. Sometimes something does. A message, a like, a piece of good news you weren't expecting. You never know in advance which check will be the one that pays off. So you keep pulling over and over all day long. But here's the part that gets stranger. This isn't only about reward. It's about threat detection layered directly on top of reward, running at the same time, in the same small device. Your phone occupies two ancient systems in your brain simultaneously. The reward system, chasing the next unpredictable payoff, and the vigilance system, scanning for danger that might be hiding in your inbox, your group chat, your feed. Think about what a notification actually feels like in the half-second before you open it. There's a flicker of tension, a tiny spike somewhere behind your ribs. What if it's bad news? What if someone's upset with me? That spike is not new. It's the same spike your ancestors felt hearing a branch snap somewhere behind them in the dark. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a saber-toothed cat and a text message that says, "We need to talk." Sapolsky's research offers something useful here too. Chronic low-level stress in modern humans doesn't come from lions anymore. It comes from anticipation, from uncertainty that never fully resolves itself. Your ancestors' stress was usually acute, and then it was over. Either the lion caught you or it didn't, and either way, the moment ended. Yours is diffuse instead. It just hums, quietly, all day long, in your pocket. So why don't you just turn it off? Because your brain isn't built to ignore uncertainty. It's built to resolve it as quickly and completely as possible. An unread notification is what psychologists call an open loop. And open loops are uncomfortable in a very specific, very old way. This has been studied under what's known as the Zeigarnik effect, named after psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik, who noticed something strange in the 1920s while sitting in a busy Vienna cafe. Waiters could remember unpaid orders in perfect, exhaustive detail, but the moment a bill was settled, the memory simply evaporated. Unfinished tasks stay loud in the mind. Finished ones go quiet almost instantly. A notification is an unfinished task. Checking it is how you make the noise stop, at least for a second, before the next one arrives. Now picture your ancestors again, not scanning for danger this time, but sitting around a fire at night. Social information mattered just as much as physical danger, maybe more. Who was whispering to who? Who looked away when you approached the circle? Who laughed at whose joke, and who didn't laugh at all? In small hunter-gatherer bands, your survival depended heavily on your standing within the group, and your standing depended on information you had to constantly, quietly gather. Anthropologists studying small-scale societies today, including the Hadza in Tanzania and other remaining hunter-gatherer communities, have found that social monitoring wasn't a hobby squeezed in between chores. It was a full-time, low-grade job that never really switched off. Everyone was always a little bit watching everyone else, tracking alliances, reading moods, updating their picture of where they stood. Your group chat is that fire. Your feed is that fire. Every scroll is you sitting down at it again, checking who's talking, who's gone quiet, who might be talking about you right now without your knowledge. Here's the twist most people miss entirely. The problem was never that your phone hijacked a broken system. Your phone hijacked a system that used to work perfectly well. Vigilance, reward-seeking, social monitoring, the discomfort of open loops left dangling, every single one of these mechanisms kept your ancestors alive for hundreds of thousands of years. None of them are malfunctions. They're features, ancient, carefully tuned features, now aimed at a target they were never designed for. A target with no bottom, a tree line with no edge, a fire that never dies down and never runs out of whispers to notice. That's what makes this different from a lion crouched in the grass. The lion eventually left, one way or another. The fire eventually died down, and everyone went to sleep, and the watching stopped until morning. Your phone doesn't leave, it doesn't die down. It sits there, patient, unpredictable, always capable of one more flicker of movement in the corner of your eye. Consider how strange this would look to someone from 10,000 years ago. Imagine trying to explain to them that you carry a small glowing rectangle everywhere you go. One that can summon the anxiety of a stalking predator and the thrill of a successful hunt within the same 3 seconds. They would have no framework for that. Their fires went out. Their predators eventually wandered off. Nothing in their world buzzed in their pocket at 2 in the morning demanding to be checked. And yet, the machinery inside you responding to that buzz is identical to theirs. Same alarm circuits, same reward circuits, same hunger for social information. You haven't changed. Only the target has. This is why willpower alone rarely works. You're not fighting laziness. You're fighting a survival system that has kept every one of your ancestors alive long enough to have children, going back further than you can meaningfully picture. Telling that system to simply stop paying attention is like telling your heart to stop noticing when you run. It's not a flaw to be willed away. It's an inheritance. There's another layer to this that most people never stop to consider. Your ancestors' vigilance had an off switch built into the environment itself. Darkness fell, the fire burned low, the group settled, and the body understood that the watch was over for the night. Sleep researchers have long noted that humans evolved to wind down in response to specific environmental cues, fading light, dropping temperature, quieting sound. Your phone erases every one of those cues. The light stays the same brightness, the temperature never drops, the sound can arrive at any hour. You are, for the first time in the history of your species, carrying a permanent, always-on campfire that never signals it's safe to stop watching. Psychologists studying attention have a term for what happens next. It's sometimes called continuous partial attention, a phrase used to describe a mental state where a person is never fully absorbed in anything, because part of their awareness is permanently reserved for monitoring incoming signals. You've felt this. You've sat at dinner with someone you love, phone face down on the table, and felt a sliver of your attention still hovering over it, waiting. That sliver isn't rudeness. It's the same sliver of attention your ancestors kept reserved for the tree line, even while eating, even while talking, even while resting. A fully relaxed hunter-gatherer was a vulnerable one, so evolution made sure that total relaxation was rare, and there is a reason this feels heavier than it should, heavier than a simple habit. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar, known for his research into the cognitive limits of social group size, has argued that human brains evolved to track a finite, manageable number of relationships, somewhere in the range of 150 meaningful social ties. Your phone doesn't respect that number. It floods you with signals from hundreds, sometimes thousands of people at once, each one registering, however faintly, as a small social event your ancient brain feels obligated to process. No wonder it feels exhausting. You are not built to monitor a village this large, and yet every day, that's exactly what you attempt to do, one glowing notification at a time. None of this means the discomfort is permanent or unsolvable. It simply means the discomfort is honest. It's not a personal failing whispering that you lack discipline. It's a 200,000-year-old alarm system doing exactly what it was built to do, in an environment it was never built for. Understanding that difference doesn't silence the buzzing in your pocket, but it does change what you hear when it happens. Not a flaw, not weakness, just an old, faithful watchman still standing guard at a tree line that isn't really there anymore. So the next time your hand reaches for your phone before your mind has even caught up with the decision, you're not being weak. You're not broken. You're just running very old, very well-built software on a threat that was never designed to end. Your ancestors would have checked the rustle too. They would have been right too. The only difference is, for them, the rustling eventually stopped. For you, it hasn't stopped once, all day, and your hand is already moving again.